to a character that was not ready from day one, which I'm not really knocking him too much for that. Not everybody comes in ready. He was a rookie. Okay, cool. But we're comparing a 3-year character that Reese said earlier himself, it doesn't feel like the same character anymore, even though it is the same character. It's the same character, it's just an advanced version of himself. Undertaker was able to do the same character, an advanced version of himself, but it still feel like the Undertaker. And that's why I don't think that this is too much of a character debate. Honestly, I think Taker just kind of clears. Taker did the dead man character. When it got stale, he evolved the dead man character. When that got stale, actually, I don't even think the badass gimmick was stale. I think it was actually really popular when they changed it back to the dead man. I do think people wanted the dead man back. And then when that got stale, he came back as the Phenom. It wasn't just the dead nom, it was the Phenom.
Okay, and it plays better, which I still don't think that's true. But if Mark Calloway is a better character worker than Joe Anoa'i, it is the character of the Tribal Chief versus the character of the Phenom. And I do think that the Tribal Chief is a better written character than, or better wrote character, I think that's proper English, than the
You
Phenom.
want specifically the Phenom?
The dead man, the Phenom, is that who I have on the screen? Those are the same people, right? I just want to make sure I'm right. I'm actually
those are the dead man and the Phenom are two different eras for me, but sure.
Same character. They're the same character. Okay. They're the same character. Okay. So that is what I'm talking about. I think the writing of the OTC Tribal Chief, whatever you want to call him, I think the writing of Roman Reigns as the Tribal Chief is much better. I think that the story of a young man who is in this company, who his family has carried a legacy in this company, and he feels like he's not getting the respect that he deserves, takes it upon himself to say, forget what the fans think, forget what everybody else thinks. I'm going into business to put me and my family on the map, taking his cousins with him, and even the Sami Zayn bit, I think CJ touched a bit on it all. Even the Sami Zayn bit, I think that's better character work that Undertaker's ever had to do. I think it's much harder.
Sami Zayn?
The stuff Roman's doing with Sammy, Jay, and them, I think it's much harder to go out there and act. I'm not knocking Taker for saying that he's not acting, but it's much harder to go out there and have to be versatile, act with different characters in different ways, approach different feuds in different ways while keeping the same character. The feud with John, I see the confused faces. The feud that he has with John Cena in 2021 is completely different than the way he approaches Cody Rhodes. That is completely different than the way that he approaches Brock Lesnar. I'm saying this to say that Roman Reigns is much more versatile. I think Roman Reigns has a much more complex story. I think Roman Reigns is surrounded by the better story. I think Roman Reigns, the Tribal Chief, is a better character in terms of writing than
how complex is
it's not super complex. It's not super complex. It's actually a very basic story to understand. I'm saying in terms of the stuff that the Undertaker's had to deal with, I don't think it's that I think it's a little bit more complex than that. I think it's a little bit deeper. I don't think complex equals better. But what I do think is that Roman Reigns shares better dynamics and parallels to different characters in his story than the Undertaker does. I don't think that Kane and Taker, is it parallel, a dynamic? It's a little bit of both.
I'm actually so happy you're comparing it. Sorry to cut you off. It was just kind of I was really excited to talk. I'm really happy you're comparing it because I think Taker actually has more complexity, and I think he has better complexity. Yes,
go ahead. I want to hear your case.
Because one, I look at a Taker Kurt Angle and the way that the story was told in the match. Taker always has this feel of in Roman's idea, wreck everything and leave. Taker was the dead man. He was the giant. He was the unmovable, not unmovable, but like he was the big final boss feel, right? Taker's always.
Can I say something?
He gets in the ring with Kurt Angle. He doesn't have that feel. Taker's the underdog in that match. If you actually watch it, 2007, No Mercy, 2006 maybe, I don't know, but Taker has these storylines and these points in matches where he doesn't have that feel to him anymore, where he loses that. Taker Shawn, the first match. Let's look at the first match before we can get to the second one, because I think the second one is his best story ever told. That's actually why I think that second match is so good. It's not because of the in-ring. Not saying the in-ring wasn't good, but even when all right, let's look at the second match. When he wants Sean to stay down. He doesn't actually want to end this dude's career. The facial expressions, him getting slapped by Sean, that's the reason he put Sean down. It was the final disrespect. He didn't want to go through with it, but he had to. He tried to the whole story of him versus Sean, him wanting to avoid, hey, I already beat you. Hey, if you want the fight, I'll give it to you on Monday Night Raw. That everything about that I think is more complex because it wasn't just the dead man being the dead man. Also, we can look at stuff like him versus Ray. It wasn't just the dead man being the dead man. We can look at him versus Triple H, the first one, not the second one. It wasn't the dead man being the dead man.
What is it then? What is it? What is it?
Underdog.
What is
it? He was desperate to win. He had to play on the back end. He wasn't himself. Triple H beat the hell out of him the entire match, and then he snuck in a Hell's Gates. That's not Undertaker being Undertaker. And then Triple H said, I had you. You know it. That was a 4-year storyline if you really sit and think about it. Shawn Michaels, I had you. I made one mistake. That one mistake cost me everything. Taker, give me my match. Give me a rematch. I want you at Mania. Taker's, no, I'll give it to you at Monday Night Raw. Why? If you really think about it, some people might say, did Taker fear Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania? Did he think that he possibly was going to lose? Some people could think like that.
Challenging Undertaker to a match, like Undertaker just doing his job. I don't know. I don't think that's I'm not trying to downplay it. I just don't think that's as complex as you're saying. It's a storyline about people wanting to overcome the big guy. I think it's a lot more basic than you're actually leaning on. It's just three superstars, including Kurt Angle, that want to beat the Undertaker in this like as this wall, and that's completely fine.
Why did they want to beat him?
It's Jiren-esque because he has a streak at Mania. I assume, yeah. I think they want to break the.
That wasn't
Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle. It might be a different case. From what I remember, Triple H, it's just like bragging rights of beating the Undertaker there, and I think does he have the title?
That was not the storyline for Triple H. That wasn't the storyline for Shawn Michaels.
I did say
Triple H was a revenge thing a little bit because he made his best friend retire.
Yes. There's context. Obviously, there's like some substance between there, but the whole thing is like at that point, the fights at Mania are for beating the streak. We're not going to go around that.
Okay, so another point.
That's completely fine. I don't think that's a better point. I think the streak is valuable. I do think the streak is valuable. But I think Roman Reigns holding the title for 1,316 days is valuable as well.
Can I say also?
All it took was one reign. I don't think that's crazy. All it took was one reign, and this man has completely flipped gears to where our GOAT, the greatest of all time, is saying that it is coming out there to go and try to beat Roman. Brock Lesnar's coming out there. Cody Rhodes has built his entire storyline on beating Roman Reigns for the title. Jey Uso has built his entire life for a portion of it on beating his cousin and proving to himself his self-worth. I think
Shawn Michaels ended his career for a rematch against this man.
I'm not arguing that. I think that's impactful. What I think is more impactful, what I think is even more heartfelt, is a member of somebody's family going out there and putting their entire value on them being completely devalued by their person who's. I think that's just and I might be just a subjective thing, but I think it's just.
I think that's pretty subjective. Yeah, that's subjective.
I think it's a much more compelling, heartfelt thing. I think it's much more compelling when we see him bring in somebody like a Sami Zayn into the group, and he brings in Sami Zayn as one of his own, and Sami Zayn now from the inside out.
Okay, so you like Tyler Perry movies, don't you?
No, I do not. I hate every Madea movie almost.
You just told on yourself. Yeah, you don't like Tyler Perry.
Stories are more impactful than the Undertaker. The Tribal Chief stories are more impactful, and also it has more impact on WWE Superstar. Well, yeah, it has more impact on WWE Superstar. Jay, what was he? He was a title. He was a tag title. You only see him as a tag title. Nothing more, nothing less. Just a tag person. And now what happened? What did Roman do? He elevated him to win the World Heavyweight Championship. He made Jey Uso. Let's be real. Sami Zayn, he wasn't doing nothing. He wasn't doing nothing at all. He came into the
storyline. The storyline was dead in the water. Let's not do that.
That's not the point. The storyline also gave Sami Zayn, who was also dead in the water, life. So I mean,
yes, we're both honorary oof. That was fire.
Okay. So
I feel like Sami did more for Roman. There is my point.
Sami Zayn, no, that's false. That's false.
I don't know about that. I think the existence of the storyline catapulted Sammy's career to where it's at right now. Like
Exactly.
What I mean by that is like, yes, Sammy's good in the ring. I know what you're making, CJ, but like
where is his career?
WWE does not. I mean, he's in what's Sammy's name?
IC champ.
IC champ.
He just lost it.
Champ. Beat Gunther. He was a
US
US champ. He was a US champ.
Oh,
He just lost it to Gunther. He was an IC champ. He beat Braun Breaker for it.
He lost the United States title to Ilya Dragunov.
And let's not forget
that's not a bad place to be at.
And let's not forget
let's talk about
he was
now.
doing before. Was he not the IC champion before he joined the Bloodline?
How many? Were his
Are we gonna
stories
act
relevant?
like
What was Sami Zayn doing?
You don't even remember what Sami Zayn was doing before he joined.
Question.
I wasn't watching the show.